Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Eerie International, episode 474 this week. My name is David from the United States.
I'm Andi from Germany.
And I'm Dave from the UK.
And the international trio is reunited. Andi, welcome back to the show. We couldn't remember why you were off last week, but we thought it was for good reasons. You don't have to divulge on the podcast, but we're glad that you're back. Actually, I think we did maybe accidentally sort of dox that it was your birthday. But we can pretend that was a lie.
I mean,
happy late birthday or not.
No one got back to me about that, so no one cared.
Okay.
I did manage to edit the episode slightly so that we weren't too specific about it. But
okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So it's a spoiler that we've allowed out there that you have a birthday sometime in the year. So
I know, who would have thought it?
Ageless.
Yes,
of course.
We're 4 days away from celebrating the most famous birthday, and the revelation has hit us that everyone gets one. The king gets two. Lucky bastard.
Is that true?
Yeah.
In the UK?
Yeah.
But he makes the rules.
Yeah, he does. But no, there's I don't know. I think one of them marks the coronation and the other one is their actual biological birthday, but I'm not 100% sure, and I can't be asked to look it up. So we're just going to go. If my granddad would have been able to tell me because he knew all of that stuff. But
the British royal family is a wild, crazy thing.
Oh, especially at the moment.
Discussed.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Welcome to the podcast. If this is your first time listening, we are as you can already tell, a heavily international co-production between the United States, Germany, and England. We talk about horror movies and horror-related items and things. We take the tangents seriously with what that can be defined as. This week even being one of those, we're talking about a giant kaiju monster movie from Norway called Troll 2. Which just came out this month on Netflix. I don't remember what episode it was. Maybe one of you guys have it tagged. I don't. But we did the first Troll movie at some point years ago. This one came out, and we decided to jump in and talk about this one as well.
Disappointed one person today at work. Colleague asked which movie we'd be doing this week, and I said Troll 2, and he got really excited. No, the other, another one, not that
I've
Troll
had to
2.
do this too. Yeah, in fact, it was yesterday. I was talking to my brother-in-law, and he was like, "The one with the popcorn scene." I was like, "No, but I like that one too." So at some point, we'll have to do the other Troll 2. Not that Troll 2, 2025 Troll 2. How many times am I going to say fucking Troll 2 in this intro? Jesus. All right. So welcome to the show. We, what else? We're online, obviously. You can find us on social media, websites, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that jazz. If you want to send us some longer form thoughts, feel free to do so over at our Gmail account, eerieinternational@gmail.com. That's basically it, right? This is the last episode of the year for us. After this, we'll take a break like we usually do over the holidays and come back sometime in 2026. That makes it sound like it could be like fucking March. Like it'll be in January, I'm sure. But we haven't exactly nailed that down yet. So this is our farewell to 2025 episode in the sense that it's our last episode, not in the sense that it's a retrospective, because it will be business as usual in terms of an Eerie International episode. I think that's pretty much it. We can get into what we got into this week. I have a very, very short list in that it contains nothing. I started to tell you guys this off air, and I was like, nah, I don't mind talking about this publicly. I have started dating again. As people, longtime listeners of the show may remember, I took a year off some years ago. I ended up getting a divorce after a very long marriage, totally amicable. I've probably talked about the circumstances in the past, but for the past 4 years, I have been a newly single man, and for 3.5, maybe 3 of those years, a very depressed single man. At points so depressed that I needed to not even be on a podcast for a while. So it's a good update. It's a happy update. Not in the sense that I'm like, oh, this is what I needed, and now I can finally find my next wife or anything like that. But it's a sign of just growth and healing. And for me, dating in the past 4 years was something that I just didn't have the capacity or interest in. And I do now. I've worked a lot on myself this year and have made a lot of changes and a lot of growth and lost a lot of weight and picked up meditation and just good things all around. And it's given me a little bit more space mentally and emotionally to put myself back out there again and meet people and talk to people and just kind of be happy in a lot of ways. It's not like it's, a 180 to where I'm like, oh, this is the happiest I've ever been in my life. But I have so many foundational tools now, just a foundation, let's say, in place to where I feel more equipped to kind of be a more fully functioning member of society. So yeah, I've been dating and talking to people, and what I forgot is that it takes up a lot of your time. That was the thing, and not in a bad way, but just texting and talking to people and stuff. Yeah, it's given me less time for movies and everything else. So I've played a little bit of Elden Ring, Night Rain with my friends. I mentioned that last week or the week before. Still really love it. Honestly, love it even more than I did before. Once you have 3 people and find a rhythm and find learning each other's like classes that you're using and all that stuff, and start to get more in sync, and then the game opens up and you realize, oh, this is even harder than, like, this is 8 times harder than I thought it was going to be. What we were grinding through was essentially a tutorial. Like, it's brought a lot of new fun challenges in a video game sense. So I've played that some this week, but otherwise, either busy with work or went on a date this past week. And then also yesterday over the weekend, had like my extended family's Christmas stuff, which was in classic, I started to say American fashion. I doubt it's limited to America. In classic extended family Christmas style, some major drama going on behind the scenes. And it's strange now being 36, where as a kid, when you're a kid, like you could sense like something's going on. Yeah. The adults aren't talking about it. But like, this person's avoiding this person seems mad. This person's outside smoking or drinking. Like, you can kind of figure out something's going on. It is equal parts entertaining and enlightening as a 36-year-old to now see this stuff happening and be like, oh, I know exactly what's going on, because people are going to tell me. Like, people will pull me to the side and be like, this is what's happening. And so yeah, there was a bunch of drama at my family thing yesterday, but had nothing to do with me, and was in no way impacting me. So I could kind of just navigate it and laugh. And I don't know. In some ways it was like weirdly not comforting, like nostalgic, of just like, yeah, this is Christmas. Like, this is what it's like. So so I've just been busy with other shit and haven't really watched or read or gotten into anything. Played a little bit more Dispatch. It's the same shit I've talked about in the past couple weeks. Dispatch continues to be a great game. That's it. So let me throw the ball over to our good German friend, Andi. Andi, what have you been into?
So we recently watched the movie Bring Her Back, which was in cinemas this year. We didn't get to see it in cinemas for reasons I won't get into, because I get worked up. Anyway, the new movie by the Philippou twins, also known as Raka Raka, that brought us Talk to Me. I had not heard of them before Talk to Me. I guess they were pretty successful on YouTube doing videos, shorts with a bunch of special effects. I watched, after having seen Talk to Me, I watched like a couple of videos of theirs. But as I said, wasn't aware of them. When Talk to Me came out, I saw it at Fantasy Film Fest, so it probably was already out in the States. I'm not entirely sure. I think so. I had heard about the movie beforehand. I didn't go in completely blind. So it had gotten a lot of praise before I got to see it, and I liked it. I don't think I was as enthusiastic about it as other people were that year when it came out, but I did like it. And yeah, then Bring Her Back came out this year. I knew very little about the movie. I had heard some like general reactions, and one person specifically in a conversation told me it was a conversation about movie trailers, and she said that Bring Her Back was a trailer where when she watched the movie she realized, oh, that the trailer told me nothing. The movie takes a completely different direction than I had thought of from the trailer. So me personally, I had not seen the trailer. I don't believe. But so we knew about the movie. We wanted to see it. We finally got to see it recently, and I must say I am immensely impressed by the movie, by the step forward that the Filippo brothers did as filmmakers.
Yeah.
This movie felt so much matured from Talk to Me, which was already a very well made movie. For a debut movie, a debut feature at least. And Bring Her Back did not necessarily seem like made by two crazy guys from Australia. When you hear them in interviews, they seem like, I don't know, they're on a diet of pure sugar and energy drinks. And so I thought the movie was fantastic. It's maybe the saddest movie or one of the saddest movies I've ever seen. It leaves you devastated, which is something that I had heard before, that people said that movie leaves you in a bit of a a state that you, I don't know, don't necessarily want to be in for too long or too often. But yeah, I really liked the movie. I was very impressed. It's so well made. Sally Hawkins is a powerhouse. The movie makes you worried for Paddington. Sally Hawkins as a foster mom in Paddington and in Bring Her Back is the craziest double feature that you could make, and on totally opposite ends. Maybe Bring Her Back is the explanation why she's not the foster mom in the third Paddington movie.
In the third movie, yeah. We have footage of you punching a child while they're asleep. We're not going to let you hurt this fucking bear.
But yeah, also that movie really left an impact. And I would assume most people that listen to us have already seen it. The three people that the three listeners that we have, most of them live in the US, and most of them have already seen it probably. But if you haven't, I highly recommend the movie. And afterwards, something light and funny, something with puppies. Because the movie. So we afterwards, we both, Bianca and I, after when the movie was done, we sat on the couch and we were like, "Whoa, this." Yeah, Bianca explained it like she like she had this big weight on her chest, and that she felt like she had trouble breathing from the movie, that the movie placed this weight on her chest, and it wasn't gone after the movie was over. Yeah, that's the kind of movie that it is.
Yeah, absolutely. That was my experience too.
And the second thing that I wanted to mention, I, a few weeks ago, talked about the movie Man Finds Tape when I saw it at Fantasy Film Fest, and it's now out in the States. It had a theatrical release in like New York, LA, and Austin, but a physical, not physical, digital release, VOD, day and date. So it is out in the US, and Paul Gandersman and Peters Hall, the writer-directors, were on the movie Crypt recently, episode 654. I listened to that episode, and I mostly wanted to take that opportunity. That it is an interesting episode. You can learn a lot about indie filmmaking, the way that they got to make the movie, how they got Dave Lawson, Justin Benson, and Aaron Moorhead as producers on the movie. And Dave Lawson, towards the end of the episode, Dave Lawson joins them on the call in the conversation. So it's a a great episode, but I mostly wanted to take that episode as the opportunity to mention Man Finds Tape again. And if you weren't aware that it's out in the States now, to make you aware that it's out in the States now, you are able to watch it. And I would recommend it. I really liked it. And I would very much like to hear opinions by you, for example, our listeners, and by my co-hosts, of course, and basically everyone, because I really enjoyed it. It's out. That's the two things for me.
Okay, cool. I was just going to say I have it not wish list. I don't even fucking remember what it's called on Apple, but I saw that it was rentable, so I added it to my list on Up Next. I forget what it's called. Who cares? But it was on my radar when you talked about it, and then I'm glad you mentioned it on here because, I saw it on there, added it, just haven't watched it yet. So maybe for next year. And by that, I mean it in the very annoying way my 9-year-old is like, see you next year. I mean on our next episode. Now that I awkwardly hijacked that. Dave?
I used to be that annoying kid in school.
Yeah, I mean, me too.
We all thought
I
it
threw
was
my
clever.
kid under the bus, but
We all thought it was funny at one point. Final day of school. I'll see you next year. Yeah, that's in like 7 days, dipshit. I'm talking about myself, not your son. just so that we can, So it's been quite a quiet week for me. I've not watched anything of any real note. I did hope to be able to go out and watch Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair, but screenings were few and far between. There was one screening at a cinema within easy distance of me. I'm a fair weather cinephile. If I can travel and park easily and then watch the film and not have to worry about being back by a certain time, otherwise I have to pay 15 quid parking charge, then I'll do it. But literally there was like one night on I think a Tuesday when they decided that they were going to show it at the local cinema. I don't know why. Maybe because of the runtime, they decided they weren't going to have a long engagement, but I missed out, unfortunately. So I guess I'm probably going to have to hope that they either do a showing at Everyman at some point in the future, where I will spend more than I would parking if I had gone to London to watch it, or maybe I don't know if there's like a specific release they did on Blu-ray or DVD where they combined the two movies and included the extra stuff. I'll have to look into it. I don't know if you would know, David or Andy. If you know.
I've looked it up a couple times. My hope and assumption is that they will, based off of this being a theatrical thing, like that they obviously put a bunch of time and promotion and whatever into getting it out there beyond just his little theater. I don't want to say his little theater. That sounds condescending, but his one theater.
Yeah.
But I have seen nothing yet. Now, that doesn't mean they won't. I feel like that's usually par for the course because they don't want to announce that ahead of time, and then people will be like, oh, I'll just wait for it to come out and not go see it. But I mean, I would assume there's not. I don't know. It's over 20 years old. Like they're probably honestly lucky they've gotten money out of it again now. Like there were a fair amount of people in the theater when I went and saw it. But it's not like it's it's not Avatar. It's not a franchise that's going to keep bringing in. So, fingers crossed, because I would buy that in a heartbeat. I would love to have the one cut.
I would love to have it as well. I mean, I have both individual movies. I can sit down and watch them whenever I want. So probably I will do that at some point in the near future. But it would make sense for them to release like a director's cut ultimate Blu-ray version of it or something. So we'll see. You actually reminded me of something there which got my goat this week, which was the news that there were several reports of Marvel fans who got up and stormed out of showings of Avatar because the trailer for Avengers Doomsday wasn't included because of, I think there was encryption issues. Some cinemas weren't able to download the trailer and add it to the pre-roll of the. I don't know how things work in the cinema now, but apparently this was a thing that Marvel were doing where they were sending encrypted links to cinemas to download the trailer, and not all of the cinemas were able to do it. So some showings of Avatar basically didn't have this trailer attached to them. Fucking grow up, everybody. I'm sorry. I know I'm probably going to piss some people off here, but how about instead of paying money to go and watch a trailer and then, oh, look, there's a film attached to it, how about you go and watch a fucking film, and if there's a trailer, brilliant. Because you know what? In a week's time, it will be on the internet and you'll be able to watch it. It's on the internet already. thanks to the wonderful world of AI, you can watch a soulless rendition of the trailer on YouTube for free. I wouldn't recommend
So here's
it.
where I'm conflicted, because I agree with you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there is another scenario in theaters right now, at least in the US, that is the exact perfect example of why I'm a hypocrite. Because there is a 8-minute short film in front of the SpongeBob SquarePants movie that's out now. That is a sequel, sort of, to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem, a movie that I absolutely love. I do not give a single fuck about SpongeBob.
No, neither do I.
So I have a Regal whatever unlimited thing. I have considered and almost definitely will be going to watch that short film and then leaving after that. So I'm a hypocrite in this regard, but I also agree, dude. And this is Andi. I'm sorry. I'll make this very fast because this is not this is
whenever I'm not on an episode like last week, you guys start the episode with Andy is not here to rein us in. This episode will go off the tracks. We'll talk about other things. You always talk about other things. You always talk about video games and superheroes and stuff.
Yeah. I
don't know. It doesn't care. It doesn't really matter if I'm here or not. Maybe it takes a little longer when I'm not there, but go on.
All right. It's quick. It's quick. I promise. Dave, don't enable me on this.
Okay.
Hear me, and then let's move on. That way we can't let Andi prove us right with this. I'm having the opposite reaction, I feel like, of a lot of people are with this Captain America thing, where when I saw that come out, I was just like, this makes me 5,000,000% less interested. It feels like you guys don't know what the fuck you're doing. And instead of having something that had a very natural, awesome, climactic ending that everybody was happy with, like, it's rare you find somebody that hated Endgame and hated how it all wrapped up, even if they're cynical about superhero movies, even if they're cynical about Marvel. Like, it was this huge, bombastic, massive pop culture thing that happened that we all experienced, and it was a perfect closing point. So this trailer where it's like Captain America will return, I'm like, fucking why? Like, I don't care now. Like, prove to me, like, it's hard for me to care a lot with kind of the new direction, but this is the last thing in the world that I want, is that for you guys to bring back all the stuff that you already ended. It is very comic booky in the sense that, like,
happen. Yeah.
I mean, but it didn't have to. That's the thing that drives me crazy, is like they have proven that they can bring in new characters and new characters that people grow to love. Guardians is a great example of that. I know that's kind of a flash in the pan in some ways, but still, this whole thing, this Captain America thing, I'm just like, ugh, okay, fine, I guess. Like, I don't really want to see it that much now. I mean, it's not like it was at the top of my list to begin with. But I would much rather see you guys do something different and new. And that's part of the reason why when we talked about Fantastic Four, I was so excited about that movie, was because it felt new and fresh in a lot of ways. And they had this other universe, dimension, whatever they could play in. So Captain America's back. Fucking great. Like, I've had a very lukewarm to just negative kind of reaction to it. And that's all. I mean,
I don't think that Avatar needed the help of having an Avengers trailer.
No,
to get people to watch it. So I think that they could have very happily just given that bump to some other film. But here we are. There are people who walked out of films because they didn't get what they wanted.
Yeah.
You pay your money, you get your choice. It's your money to spend. You spend it how you want. I'm just going to say maybe you should just make peace with the fact that a trailer exists and you'll see it eventually, and you don't need to see it immediately. But yeah, that's just me. I spent most of the rest of my week watching YouTube because it's instant gratification. It's typical bloody me. I've got all of these things that I can watch TV shows on, and I would rather just watch stuff created by Adam Savage in his workshop, making lists about his favourite things of the year, and and that kind of stuff. Sure. I don't know. There's something still quite pure about that side of YouTube, where it's just people kind of just being really enthusiastic about their hobbies and making nerdy shit that only a fraction of people are going to want to watch. But I happen to be in that fraction, and so I will gleefully consume all of this video content that people are making. Same with Techmoan. He's a British guy that talks about like stereos and things like that. And like, I've got no idea what an amplifier does in the actual electrical sense of the word. Like I buy a thing, the thing works, I listen to music, I enjoy music. But I really enjoy watching him talk about shit for some reason.
Yeah.
So I need to probably expand my my input or my consuming to include some more horror-based stuff, so I at least have something to talk about when we talk about things. But the one thing that I'll just throw out there is I felt bad about not knowing why there were 2 birthdays for the reigning monarch, so I looked it up, and apparently the reason is because kings and queens like to have nice weather.
That you did. What an
I know.
English.
I know. I didn't feel British enough. Apparently, King George II started the tradition. There's the official birthday, which is in June, and that's because you have nice weather in June. And the other birthday is the actual biological birthday. In the case of Charles, it's like November 14th. So literally, the king decided, I would like to celebrate my birthday when it's nice out, and he was allowed to do it. So
I would make fun
enough.
of that, but the long list of dumb shit Trump has done, up to and including this week, adding his name to the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts or whatever. Just, I mean, not even is it not far-fetched. It's honestly pretty tame in comparison to the stupid stuff Trump has done. Yeah. May he fuck off forever, just in case anyone listening is unclear about how I feel.
Yeah.
Keep going, Dave, sorry.
I know, I feel very similar. But yeah, so no horror stuff this week, but as always, I'll promise to try and improve that for the following weeks.
All good. All right. That was, I started to say 6 minutes. I forgot I had to start over my recording, but still pretty quick. So let's pivot into our movie for the week. Before I do that, Andi, do you happen to remember, or did either of you look up roughly when we did the first film? Was it when it came out?
Does anybody remember? Not.
Okay, totally fine. The first one came out December 1st, 2022. So we are just 3 years in between. I want to say that we did it when it came out. It feels that way, but I could be wrong. Both of them directed by, Norwegian names. I want to call him Roar, but I don't know. How would you say his last name, Andi? Since we go to you for all linguistic opportunities.
I'm also not entirely sure. The last name Uttok, or Norwegian is far from my understanding of language.
Okay. He also did, and I always forget this, he also did the Tomb Raider movie that I have not seen, but that you guys both, I believe, really liked.
Oh, the newer one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one with Alicia Vikander, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I still feel really angry for her that she didn't get to be the face of a new Tomb Raider franchise, because that first film slaps.
Dude, those movies are always like, it's crazy when that happens. The one for me, I mean, it's like double sad now because he's since passed away, but I loved Ray Stevenson as Punisher, as Frank Castle. I mean, that movie anyway, I love, but that was another one where it's like, I wish we could have had, more with him. Anyway, he also made The Wave, which I'll throw out there really quick. I'm sure I talked about it on the show when I saw it, but I loved that movie. Disaster movies are one genre that I historically not struggle with. I genuinely get stressed out by them for some reason. Like horror movies don't faze me, whatever. But disaster movies for some reason, a lot of times I get too tense. That was one that I did feel very stressed out by, but I also really liked, and I haven't seen it in a long time, but I can remember characters, scenes, moments. I've only seen it once. Like, it stuck with me in a huge way. So he's made a lot of cool movies. Also Cold Prey. Holy shit, I forgot about this movie we haven't done on the show, but I talked about, I think maybe, Andi, you saw it too. We talked about it in Germany when I was there last. A cool Norwegian slasher movie from 2006. But he is back to do Troll 2. You know what? I'm not even going to read the names of the people that are in this. It does, from what I remember, star all of the people from the first movie for the most part. At least like the main characters are all returning in their same roles. And I'll just read it here. It tells the story of Nora, Andreas, and Christopher, I'm not going to read their last names, who reunite to fend off against another giant troll Jotun while they befriend another giant troll who helps to fight Jotun. When I think Andi sent us the trailer for this movie, it very much looked like the sort of Norwegian, not answer, but like lateral sort of progression of the American MonsterVerse, in the sense that it was like, all right, we've had our Godzilla or Kong, whatever you want to compare it to. Now we've got our Godzilla versus Kong. Now we've got one where there's two trolls and they're going up against each other. The movie picks up pretty much, not like at the moment where the first one left off, but shortly thereafter, and we dive right in. Movie hits the ground running, and tells a pretty big story, no pun intended. I did not watch any recaps. I didn't rewatch the first movie. I honestly didn't even look up the synopsis of the first movie, which I probably should have done, because there were a couple times while watching this that I went back and was trying to remind myself exactly what happened in the first one. The main thing, and I think I told you guys this over WhatsApp, that I remembered from the first movie is feeling conflicted at the end when they are dragging the bones of a troll's dead child around a city as bait, which I always felt sort of weird about, since the humans are our heroes in that movie. But yeah, what did we all think of Troll 2 2025? Let's start with you, Andi. What were your thoughts overall on the film?
So by now I looked up when we did the episode on the first one. So it was episode 382, October 2023. That's
okay. All right. So not when it came out. I was wrong.
No, not immediately. No. When I started the movie on Netflix, it automatically played a recap of the first movie.
Oh, okay.
Which I found very useful. But yeah, from the trailer to the second movie, it felt like, yeah, this is what they did in the first movie, but more, and this is how such movie series go. We have one monster, the movie is successful to get a sequel, so we have two monsters. And if I don't get Mecha Troll in Troll 3, I am mad. Well, sometime during the movie, I said to Bianca, I need Mecha Troll in Troll 3, and I want this movie to end with a preview of that. We get a different preview if we watched the end credits. I don't know. Yep. Dave sometimes turns movies off.
How dare you, sir? No, I absolutely saw it. Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I think we all had fun with the first movie. The first movie was such a amalgamation of tropes from American action movies and monster movies, 90s action movies done in a relatively earnest way. So I think the movie is self-aware of what it's doing, or the filmmakers are self-aware of what they are doing, but they don't play it as a parody. They don't go too meta or too silly with what they're doing. You have people doing Independence Day-like speeches in the first movie. In the second movie, you almost get it.
Yep.
But then it has a bit of a twist. So having seen that in the first movie, I expected the second movie to be basically that again, but this time with two monsters. And I did get that. I, again, saw all the references from action movies and monster movies from America. And I said to Bianca, I think I am not mad at the movie because it's not American. Because it is Norwegian.
Yeah.
They get away with it in my book.
Yeah.
Taking all these influences, I'm sure Roar Uttok grew up with all these movies. He made such a movie with Tomb Raider. There's at least one sequence in Troll 2 that could have been taken straight from a Tomb Raider video game. My first thought was a National Treasure movie.
I thought about National Treasure a lot too.
But it's a similar mechanic. And so, yeah, I again had a lot of fun with the movie. There were moments that looked like they've been taken straight from a Michael Bay movie, and the same tropes. Armageddon is a big one here also. And yeah, I would understand if someone said, I have seen all these movies. Why should I watch another one in 2025 from Norway? But to me, it makes the movie even more, I don't know, enjoyable. I have a soft spot for this. Let's call it a series. A third one seems to be in pre-production or in some state of production, some state of development. And I'm looking forward to seeing another one, because these are the kind of popcorn movies, blockbuster movies. Well, I was about to say I don't know if I would go to the cinema to see it, but I probably would. But yeah, I don't know. I had a ton of fun with it. It's under 2 hours. It doesn't waste any time. It goes right into the story, quote unquote, and the action, and it just goes from there. I think it's just entertaining and fun. I enjoyed it. How about you?
Dave, you go first.
Okie dokie. I agree. Like actually, while I was watching it today, my mum was like doing stuff on her phone and kind of keeping tabs with it every now and then. I said to her at one point, "Oh wow, this is a national treasure movie." Like legitimately, like I pulled that same reference. I think. Yeah, like you're spot on with what you've said there, Andy. Like it takes a lot of bits from a lot of different movies, but you don't feel like it's just ripping them off. It feels like it's very much telling its own story, and it's using bits and pieces from all over the place to kind of inform how it tells that story. You've got a little bit of God damn it. I always do this. Tom Hanks movie where he's going around Rome and Paris and all over the place.
Oh, Da Vinci Code.
Da Vinci Code, yeah. I don't know why I couldn't remember the name of the artist. It's got some Da Vinci Code in there. It's got some kind of Indiana Jones-esque stuff, National Treasure, if you will. It's obviously got the monster verse thing going for it with the, let them fight. I thought that was the only thing they really needed, was just for somebody to say those words, and that would have been perfect for me. It taps into things like, and it did this with the first movie as well, nerd culture through things like Star Trek, the little joke of we're going to call the kid Leonard if it's a boy, which is like, okay, that's a fairly non-descriptive, slightly unconventional choice for a name. And then for a girl, they said Uhura, and I was like, oh, fuck's sake. Okay, I get it. I get it. Leonard Nimoy, and obviously Uhura. And yeah, it pulls the heartstrings at the right times. There's a couple of deaths in there, which one was a lot more effective than the other, and I think it's fairly obvious which one is which in this conversation. The Soldier Boy, I'm sorry, I didn't remember you from the first one, and I'm fairly certain that you didn't have to spin it. It's weird how helicopters work, right? Because for my mind, I feel like you shouldn't be like, oh, this thing's going to happen, and then suddenly the helicopter spins out of control. I feel like you get hit and you spin out of control immediately normally. And like I'm aware from watching stuff where people build their own helicopters and stuff, like you have to do your license, you have to learn how to do something which I think from memory is called gyro gliding, which is basically when the engine's cut out on your helicopter, you have to be able to, and people don't realize that this is the case, when the engine's cut out, the propellers don't immediately stop spinning. You don't fall out of the sky like a stone. You can actually glide down and somewhat safely ditch the helicopter in a manner where you can preserve life.
I also have a genuine question here, and this comes from an absolute place of ignorance because I don't know anything about helicopters or
I'll answer it from a place of ignorance. We're well matched.
Right. You're a well-seasoned helicopter pilot, Dave.
Yes.
You can answer this for us. I know for different kinds of planes, and different types of air vehicles. There are situations where you can eject whatever. You have parachutes, shit like that. I understand you're not going to eject out of a helicopter, as hilarious as that might look, just going straight up into the blades. That's not what I mean. Yeah. But couldn't you have a parachute? Like, that was one thing I thought about with this. Like, is it a thing? Like, is there a distance to the ground that a parachute is just going to be completely ineffective for? Because there was a lot of time when that dude got hit until it started to spin where I was like, we'll jump out. Like, if you have a parachute, like, you don't have to, like, the movie's definitely trying to play into the, like, very sort of stoic, like, it was an honor serving with you, and like he's accepting his death and everything. I get that. Like, I understand that they're leaning into that trope. But there also was part of me that was like, it seems like you had a lot of time here to kind of figure out maybe an alternative to just completely accepting your death. But I don't know. Maybe it is a stupid question. I don't know.
It's not a stupid question. My very rudimentary knowledge of how parachutes work and the heights at which they're effective is that, I mean, this is based off of base jumping, right? Normally you need at least like a couple of 100 feet to be safe. Right. And when you base jump under those kind of heights, then you're really, really risking it. It's already risky because you're parachuting right next to some kind of structure which the wind could easily carry you back into. But primarily I think you need to give the parachute enough time to both deploy, fill with air, and catch enough air resistance to slow you down.
Yeah.
So I wonder if helicopters tend to operate at much lower altitudes, and I wonder if it's just not worth their time to pack.
It just seems crazy that you would learn how to fly a helicopter, and they're like, look, if something goes wrong, you're fucked no matter what. Like, it seems like we wouldn't have some sort of safety things. Like, I understand, and collisions or whatever else, it's going to change it a bit, but usually in movies, there's not that gap. Like in Cloverfield, they're in a helicopter, they get hit by the monster, and then they're immediately in a tailspin free fall kind of thing, to where it's like, all right, there's no time there. But this was one where it was like, there's a good amount of time. Like, dude had enough time to send a farewell message and look at everyone, to where I was like, all right.
I think the point you make there also has reminded me of something as well, which is that I would in my head, I would probably split helicopter accidents into 3 different things. There's mid-air explosion where you're fucked. You get hit by a missile or something and you're blown up, right? Then you have some kind of catastrophic failure where the aircraft immediately spins out of control. You can't safely bail out of a helicopter that's spinning around because it's got a second blade that is spinning around on its tail, which could cut you to pieces. And then you've got the third type of failure, which is literally just the engine has given out and you can try to glide it to a safe crash landing. None of those 3 options really bear any need for a parachute, because you'll get minced up jumping out of one, you'll be blown up in the other, and in the third one it's probably safer to stay in the aircraft than it is to leave it. But this is completely off the top of my head, just theorizing stuff, because I'm not
I also like how we're trying to have a very serious conversation of figuring this out when the reason that they're going down is because a giant troll threw a chain at them. So I am well aware that we're not operating in reality here, but it did cross my mind, so I thought I would bring it up.
It was just very strange how, like, it was just kind of like chugging along, and then it was suddenly like, oh, it's been an honor to serve with you, sir. And immediately it just span out of control.
Yeah.
It was like,
they all just kind of accepted, like, well, we're done now.
I've never seen that in a movie before where that's happened with a helicopter. And I don't know if that's a common thing. It would be fascinating to hear from someone that actually knows about helicopters to find out if that's something that can happen or if it's a realistic thing. But who cares? It's a popcorn movie and it does its job.
It's fine. It's fine.
Ultimately, that's where I sit with this movie, which is, there's some implausible stuff here, but it's a movie about trolls, like you said. It's fun. And I also, as Andy mentioned, did get the little pre-film trailer where it kind of caught you up on what had happened in the first film, which was really handy, because I should have thought to watch the first one again, because it turns out I remembered very little of it, except for basically the main actress and her father not being having a strained relationship and then kind of like mending things just in time for him to be smashed across the scenery by a troll, which I did not remember at all. I couldn't remember him dying
either.
like that. So it was just as well that they did put that at the beginning of the film. So I appreciated that they did that for us. So yeah, I did very much enjoy it, and the voice dub, because I watched it with the American voice dub a la Dark. Again, very good, much as Dark was. I think that Netflix does a really good job with a lot of these things. It seems to be with the shows that are made specifically for Netflix that get a really good vocal dub. And it does make me wonder why on earth there are platforms like Amazon Prime that get licenses for things like Banana Fish and are like, I know how we'll dub this. We will use AI. And it's fucking terrible. Just use human actors. They can do such a good job. This is fantastic evidence of that. Like, it was 5 minutes into the movie and I had completely forgotten that this was a dub track and I was just engrossed in the film. So yeah, I think from all points, as someone that really enjoyed Troll 2 is more of the same, and I'm very excited for Troll versus Baby Troll 3, or whatever they're going to call that thing. I don't know what it's going to be called, but I'm interested to see what they do with that.
Cool. Yeah, we're 3 for 3. I'm probably slightly more cynical about it, but in just very specific minor ways. Overall, I had pretty much the same reaction as you guys did, which was also, from what I remember, pretty much my reaction to the first movie too. The thing Andi said about I'm less mad at this because it's Norwegian. Not even less mad, but I'm more forgiving. I absolutely know what he's saying and know what you're saying and agree, because that's how it is for me too. Like, this would be a much more forgettable, sort of like disposable. I would walk away maybe feeling like I had kind of wasted my time a little bit in some ways if it was just another sort of American, churning out like building upon the corpses of the 90s action, monster movies or whatever that came before it. But with this one, there's like a not a whimsical, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of I think I said this 18 times last episode, but I'll say it again. There's an endearing quality to it where you can tell that they, like you said, see they're self-aware, they see the stuff that they're playing off of, but there's also a sense that they are fans of these movies and that they're having fun making this movie. It doesn't feel cynical. It doesn't feel like they're trying to poke fun at it, but it also feels like they know that they're not a MonsterVerse movie, or they're not operating with a massive budget, relatively speaking. From what Wikipedia says anyways, this is like the largest film production ever in the Nordic countries. So it is a big movie that I felt like and again, so much of what I'm saying now basically just applies to the first movie too, from how I remember it. Because even talking to people earlier this week when I was saying, oh, we're doing Troll 2, not that Troll 2, but and then I would say, oh yeah, we did the first one. From what I remember, like, we all liked it and it was fun. It's not mind blowing, but it hit all the right notes and is definitely something that, we were able to have fun with and really kind of enjoy. So hopefully the second one is that again. And that was basically exactly my experience as well. The cast is all game for it, man. The National Treasure thing, it's so like interesting and spot on that I think all of us had that same thing. I haven't seen those fucking movies in years, so it's not even like I'm massive fans of them and they're at the top of my mind. Maybe because she's kind of a Norwegian or Swedish Naomi Watts. Is it Naomi Watts in that movie? Who is it? No, it's Diane Kruger, right? I can't remember.
God, I can't remember. It's been so long.
Diane Kruger, yeah.
Diane Kruger.
Like she has the same kind of like attitude to her, where it's like she's beautiful, but then also she's playing like a scientist, researcher. Like, there's a ruggedness to it. Like, I think that's probably part of why the connection happened in my head too. But then obviously, yeah, when they're like going into ancient cathedrals and hidden tombs, like that stuff obviously like definitely came back to the front of my mind. But But yeah, there were little things here and there where I kind of was a little bit more I don't love how you guys did this, but it was never something where it ruined the movie. I think because your investment level is exactly where they kind of want it to be. I would be surprised if either of these movies are anyone's favorite movie. And I don't mean that in a shitty way, because everybody talks about how like every movie is somebody's favorite movie. I'm sure there's someone out there who like Trolls their favorite movie, or Troll 2 is, top, but it kind of feels like it's exactly where it should be in terms of how we've all interacted with it. And I felt, and this is where I'm going to go off a little bit from my overall general thoughts. So I'll end those totally with you guys. Had a lot of fun with it. Thought it was, kaiju movies, I think also in general for all three of us, giant monster movies are I don't want to say the bar's low, but if it has those elements, I think we're all kind of fans and we're all able to click in and just enjoy it, even if it's not the best kaiju movie we've ever seen or doesn't necessarily do anything different. There's a baseline that we are able to all that it reaches for all of us, I think, fairly easily. Whereas if you're not into movies like this, then this movie might be a drag just because you're like, I don't understand why they had any enjoyment out of this. I mean, it sounds simplistic and stupid, but it's because there were huge fucking monsters in it. Like that's it. So that took care of a lot of the heavy lifting, I think, for me and for you guys as well, probably. So going off of my general thoughts, the one thing that I didn't necessarily love, I didn't totally love how they killed off Andreas. I felt like that one, I don't know, maybe this is a Nordic thing. Like both movies end with something where I felt was like slightly unnecessarily cruel in terms of it doesn't bring the movie down or ruin it or anything like that. But the tone of the movie is so, I don't know, not light, but like fun. Even when the troll at one point like shows up at a resort and starts eating people, it's not played out as dark. Like there are gags in there. There's jokes.
I want to eat those people if I could.
Right. Like it's
not because they're so delicious, but
yeah. And even their reactions and everything, like it's all kind of a little tongue in cheek. And so having this huge hero death for a character that has always been, I mean, he's the Justin Bartha, if we're going to keep doing the National Treasure comparisons like of the group. And not only is he that in this movie again, but we give him, I mean, in hindsight, it's very easy to see why they did this, but we give him an unborn child. We give him a love interest. We give him, I don't remember how much they had in the first movie. Like, were they flirting and stuff? Like, was there a spark, or was that in between movies that they added?
I do not remember, to be honest.
I only remember that they found that they had Star Trek in common, and that was literally it. So,
like a shared nerdy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that rings a bell now that you say that. So they added this thing in, which in hindsight it's easy to be like, good, because they're gonna fucking kill him at the end of the movie. But there was part of me when all of that happened where I was like, I don't know that this had to happen this way. Like there was part of me that was kind of like, this feels a little forced to where they wanted to really inject emotional stakes and make the audience engage in a way that to me at least felt a little cheap, where it was like, you could have done this with pretty much any of the other characters almost, and it would have felt more natural. To me, it felt a little bit too much like they were trying to really like prod at you and make you feel something. And in a way that to me felt kind of not mean, because Bring Her Back. Talk about a movie where it's like, it doesn't give a fuck about, like, it's telling that story. It doesn't care if you feel uncomfortable or sad. Like, that's the direction that they're going. It didn't feel like that mean-spirited, but it did feel a little to me where it was like, I don't know that this fits the tone of the rest of the movie. It would have made more sense to me if Swedish Diane Kruger would have died, or the general
Norwegian
guy.
Diane Kruger, maybe.
Is she Norwegian? I don't know what she is.
I would assume it's a Norwegian movie. I would assume they're all Norwegian.
Okay, no, you're right. I think I got mixed up because Alicia Vikander's Swedish, I think.
Yes,
I was looking at that
true.
earlier. Okay. So any of the other people would have made a little bit more sense. And it felt a little needlessly mean for him.
Yes.
Do what? What'd you say? Sorry.
There he is. You're back. It's all right. We lost you momentarily, but you appear to have reappeared. I've got a lot of editing to do today.
I'm sorry. Any of the other characters, that's all I was saying. Any of the other characters to me would have made a little bit more sense. And it did kind of feel like they were trying to really gut punch you in a way that for the rest of the movie felt tonally inconsistent. But at the end of the day, as with most things in this movie, like, not a big deal. There was part of me that was kind of hoping, even with how ridiculous it was, that he somehow would have survived. That almost would have made sense too in this kind of movie. Yeah. That, you know, there was something that happened and he's okay or he's messed up or whatever, even though it would have been very far-fetched.
I was literally, I was hoping that what would happen is that Jotun would kind of collapse on the floor, and as the mouth melted away, it would turn out that that somehow Andreas was hanging on to one of his canines or something. And when the giant swallowed, he swallowed the grenade and the bomb, and somehow that insulated Andreas. Yeah, but no, they had to. I mean,
it's a minor thing. I'm not like, it didn't derail the whole movie for me or anything, but there was part of me that was just like, man, 2 movies in a row.
It was
where there's something in the third act of this movie where I'm like, kind of mean for the rest of the tone of this.
It was formulaic, yeah.
Yeah.
I felt very similarly, and I was 99% certain that this was not going to be the end of it. But when Beautiful, as his name apparently is, was sunk into the ice, I was like, if that is actually how he dies, I'm going to have strong words for this film when we talk about it on the podcast, because that is the most anticlimactic shit that I have seen in a long time. Now, bearing in mind that the poster is literally the 2 trolls facing off in Trondheim, you would be hard-pressed to believe that they would actually kill him off that early. But at the same time, I was like, do you know what? A Norwegian film might just have the balls to do that. So it was kind of cool.
Speaking of Norwegian balls, that's another thing that I wish the movie had. Like,
yes.
In both movies, I'm like, these trolls need to have huge cocks and balls. Like, it's odd to me that we don't see their genitals, which is a crazy sentence for me to say.
I'm not going to say that I wasn't looking for it, but occasionally,
totally, you have to.
Yeah, when they're walking towards camera and the tail is swinging between the legs. Yes. There were moments where I was like, holy shit, that boy's hung. What the fuck?
I'm sure in the legends, in the paintings, in the pictures, I'm sure these dudes are not even just dudes. I'm using that as a genderless grouping. I'm sure these trolls are packing some stuff, and so it was a little odd that maybe there's a butthole cut version for the Troll 2 films where some intern had to paint out all the genitals later.
They do predate the 1970s, so as far as we're aware, the fashion for troll kind was very much to grow it out, and you know, it's probably nestling in there nice and warm, because they are creatures that seemingly like to inhabit colder areas of the world. It would make sense that nature would provide some protection for their little chaps.
Oh man!
About the death of Andreas, that was a moment. That was something that I was wondering for the whole movie, because the first time that we see that his girlfriend is pregnant, I thought, "Okay, guy, you are dead." This is a giveaway. This is how these movies work. This is how Michael Bay works. And then they give you several of these moments. That shot when they say goodbye, when she tells him, "You're a Clark Kent and not Superman," and he says goodbye, and she says, "Don't be a hero," and you get this wide shot out from the inside of that hangar outside, and that's such a Michael Bay shot, and that tells you this guy is not coming back.
Yeah.
But then I also knew, okay, this is for one. Or on the one hand, this movie plays with all these tropes or uses all these tropes pretty earnestly and goes that way, is not that meta. On the other hand, it is a movie from 2025. They have a joke about sequels are never as good as the original, and being aware that it is a sequel, things like that. So I thought, okay, maybe they do let him get away. But I think I had it maybe at a 40-60 chance that he would actually get away. I was more on the side of they probably are going to kill him, because that is how the first movie went, and the second movie for the most part as well, that they take these tropes and they do play them by the book. And then, he gets his Armageddon death.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I think the actual, not to no pun intended, but you guys have fun with this. The execution of his death, it was, I think, the weirdest part for me, because I could see it happening in different times and in different ways where it would have felt more appropriate, but having it be the like big climactic there were so many things about how it happened where I was like, this doesn't have to be him. Like, why are we having him do this? Like, there's a lot of other people that could do this that would be better equipped to do it as well. I think some of that is why it felt a little forced, and then maybe why a little mean, because it was like, well, clearly we're trying, like, we're setting this, not even really setting it up. Even the interaction that he has with...
He's also Randy Quaid in Independence Day. He's the guy that you wouldn't think would be the hero.
That's true. So, yeah, that's true.
But then, when you introduce a superfluous character who, to all intents and purposes, is there to replace your lead, I'm talking about, was it Radani? Is that her name?
The other girl? Yeah, her character was odd. How they...
So she's a scientist.
Because she shows up as like... Yeah, there's so many things with her introduction. Yeah. And then by the end of the movie, you're like, is this the same person? Like, what happened here?
Well, it's just like, she's a scientist, so she's already replaced Nora in that sense. Also, she's now flirting with the newly promoted Major Chris.
Yeah.
So that's Nora's story taken away from her there. So there's two ways that this can go. Nora has been replaced completely and she dies at the end of the movie, or we get rid of Radani.
Or Chris would have made sense to me too.
Well, Chris would have made sense, except for the fact that nobody else could fly the fucking helicopter.
Yeah, that's true.
So, the problem is you're already got two people up there. Unless he finds a way to drop down, force Andreas off of the helicopter, and then fly the entire helicopter down Jotun's gullet.
But also, couldn't they have just waited? Like, what? I'm trying to remember. What was the... Was there a problem with Beautiful dying? Because they would have still had to kill the other one in the same way. Were they just so fixated on making sure he didn't kill him because that one wasn't...
That was
there was part of me that was like, you guys could wait.
I feel like that was more of a problem for Nora and Radani than it was for the guys up in the helicopter. Like, I'm not sure that the helicopter crew even knew what was happening. So yeah, like maybe they could have communicated that a little bit better. There could have been a line where they said, "We got to do something quick. Look, he's got his foot on the back of his neck or something." Like, tell us that you in the helicopter know that you need to do something right now. Because literally, if you had a long enough piece of string, I could have improvised a way of dropping that shit into his mouth without having someone go with it.
This is also, again, I said this earlier, but to be very clear, I like these sorts of discussions and arguments and kind of like laughing a little bit at whatever. I am absolutely also fully aware of what the movie is, and I had fun with it. Like, this is all in spite of that. I don't want people listening to think that I'm like, man, this guy's being way too serious about a movie with two trolls fighting each other. Like, no, I get it.
Some of my favorite conversations that I have about films are about films that I love that I can still pick holes in left, right, and center.
Right.
But I enjoy it that much that those holes don't matter to me. But it's an interesting physical and mental exercise to go through it and be like, well, how could this be done better? How could this be done differently? Better is not the word. Probably differently would be the word. Because God knows I like a lot of movies that have a lot of holes in them. Just look at Highlander. Yep. Just look at RoboCop. Just look at fucking... Jesus Christ, my entire catalogue of DVDs that I have upstairs, like, they've all got problems with them, except for Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. She's perfect.
I mean, everyone puts The Dark Knight up on a pedestal, which I don't disagree with, but that one to this day, if people start talking about that, it doesn't take long for me to be like, there's a line that somebody says about keeping things close to the chest, and then a different character who wasn't involved finishes that thought later in the movie. It makes no sense.
Yep.
It's still fun to be, nerdy about it or whatever.
It is, absolutely. And there's fun to be had in, again, these mental exercises of just kind of deconstructing this stuff and just having some fun with it. I don't know what it says about us as people to pull apart the things that we love, but I think we're harsher on the things we like than the things that we don't like sometimes. I say sometimes because, good God, I have gone hard on some movies down the years on this show.
We all have.
Yeah, like there are issues, but at the same time, like, I don't care. I enjoyed this movie too much to care. The whole King Olaf thing, immediately when they introduced that parchment and they were like, there's another part to it. I was like, oh, okay, so whatever it says, it doesn't say that. Is basically my reading of that. Like, I've seen too many films and TV shows where they have an incomplete letter or some kind of source of information that colours their view one way, and then when they're able to find the other half, suddenly it says the exact opposite of what it said originally. So I knew there was something going on with that, but I didn't care because it was part of the fun of the mystery. You know, it's like when you watch Murder on the Orient Express for the 3rd or 4th or 5th, 100th time, and you're like, yeah, I can see how it all hangs together, but it's so clever that I don't care. I had so much fun.
Indiana Jones, the first 3 movies to me are like basically just perfection. I can watch any of those 3. I can like go deep and just like super intense on like, oh, Temple of Doom is set before, like we get to see like a rougher Indy, and like he's not as you know, suave and is making more mistakes, and like get really nerdy about all that stuff. Even those movies, which I think are kind of like, for me at least, the ideal, like the apex of this kind of national treasure, like these other movies that we're talking about with this sort of flavor. Part of the fun, even for those movies, which I would put high up on, probably at the top of the list, is that progression of like, oh, we found this thing and it's leading us here, and then this thing is flipping it, and oh, we mistranslated this or this thing, you know, that is the ride. And I think especially if like you are able to just click into that and have fun, then that it works. As implausible or goofy or stupid as sometimes they might be, that is kind of in a similar way that, like you said, with mysteries, like there's that ride, so to speak, that you're going through. If you're a fan of those genres and a fan of those tropes, is the ride. Like that's why you're there. So
I mean, I should have mentioned earlier, but it completely slipped my mind, and I don't know how. I watched Wake Up Dead Man this week. Figured out most of what was happening halfway through, but I enjoyed the fuck out of it, so I didn't care. And it managed to confound me in a lot of ways, where certain things were right, but also other things, they led me down the garden path with it, so that I didn't consider that it could be something else as well. I'm speaking in very codified language here because I don't want to ruin it for anyone that hasn't been able to watch it yet. Excellent film. Some wonderful use of light in the first scene where Benoit Blanc makes his appearance in this film. They go from a nice warm light temperature to a very cold one, and then back to a warm one again. And I noticed it straight away, unusually for me, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is great!"
I need to. I still haven't seen Glass Onion. When it came out, I was at whatever the opposite of an apex is for depression, or it could be the apex of depression. Sure. I think I've watched the first 20 minutes twice, and liked it. But I also was at a point where I was like, I don't want to watch any movie, or I'm just so fucking depressed. So
that's fair.
And similarly to last night in Soho, it's been one of those where it was like from that era that I just haven't gone back to yet. And I've thought here lately about watching all 3 of them, but I've seen Knives Out so many times, and like that's pretty much a 5-star movie for me, that there's part of me that kind of doesn't want to rewatch it, just because I'm like, it seems to be widely considered to be the best of the 3, even for people who like the all of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to at least, I'm assuming there's no continuity. Like, do I need to watch Glass Onion first?
No. The only continuity is that Benoit Blanc is in all of them. It's very similar to Poirot in that sense. And actually, I'm trying to think of any mystery series with like a central detective where there is continuity that you need. And of all the good ones, I can't think of any that you do need continuity. Marple, Poirot, Columbo.
Sherlock has it, but only after he ended it mostly. Like, then it was kind of, there's a little bit of a
forced in.
But before that.
Yeah. But even that, like, you can take those and read them completely separate in any order, and they'll make perfect sense because they're self-contained mysteries.
Yeah, totally.
Which this film series is not. And actually, one point, and I love how I'm segueing this shit. One thing that I did want to get back to was you mentioned about how Indiana Jones Temple of Doom is actually set before the other two, like, you know, so you get to see like an earlier part of the adventures a little bit later on. What I found interesting about this second movie was it opens with 8-year-old Nora having
flashback,
having a story read to her by her father. And it recontextualizes, for me at least, I don't remember this being talked about in the first movie, the relationship between mankind and trolls, the fact that we lived side by side in harmony. And it was only through we knew about the whole hatred of Christianity from the first movie. But it really kind of gave a lot more context for why they disliked the sound of church bells. I'm sure this is all based on pre-existing myth and legend, which goes back hundreds of years. Yeah. But it's something which, having watched, God, what's the name of that thing with Bella Ramsey, the animated series about trolls?
Hilda.
Hilda, thank you. Having watched that, like, I knew about the dislike for bells and the fact that daylight will turn them to stone. So obviously that stuff is all shared in terms of like the mythology, but outside of that, I knew precious little about trolls outside of they live under bridges quite a lot. That was literally all I knew. So it was interesting to see a little bit more introduced at the beginning of the film, and then furthermore down the line at the end of the film, when they suddenly introduced the fact that apparently trolls and vampires are best buddies because they both hate holy water, which was I thought it was going to be Silver. And so when they twisted it and kind of like made it so, oh no, it's not Silver that's that they have a problem with. Them and werewolves haven't got anything in common. It's all about the vampires, baby. It's all about that holy water. I enjoy.
Man, there are a few tropes I love more than that holy water thing. Like from Dusk Till Dawn, when they're like blessing all the water and putting in the fucking water, or like the super soaker, like the water guns and stuff. Like whenever they do that in fiction, I'm always like, hell yeah! Like what a simple, fun thing.
Yeah.
That you
like,
just
honestly,
suddenly are able to turn water into acid.
Honestly, part of me was just like, okay, so all we need when they find out about the holy water thing, I was thinking, you need to round up every priest in the area and just bless the river that runs around. Yeah. And then just watch as this motherfucker melts as he walks in. Like, that's all you need to do. But I don't know.
They did that in Castlevania, the animated series. They do that shit in there too. Which
they do, cool. But what I like about that is they acknowledge the fact that vampires can't pass over fast running water.
Running water,
yeah. So it's not a holy water thing so much as it's a running water thing. But still,
I just meant at the beginning, there's those priests that are blessing all the.
Oh yeah. No, sorry. But yeah, like Castlevania goes for its deep cuts with vampire lore as well. Like, you know, there's a lot of stuff that they tackle, which, thinking about it, there's some versions of Dracula that never go anywhere near the whole water thing. The reason that the and this is my hat trick of programs and films that I can't remember the name of. The Guillermo del Toro vampire TV series,
The
Strand, yeah,
right, yeah,
The Strain.
Yeah. Sorry, not The Strand.
The reason that worked so well was because the outbreak started on New York, on the island, like Manhattan, that kind of area, and so all they had to do was shut the bridges down, and they contained it because the vampires couldn't cross the water. You know, like really smart uses for this pre-existing lore that has been passed down. And again, I don't know enough about trolls to know just how deep they went with this stuff, but I suspect that they've been very clever with the lore and the history of trolls in making this show. Like I love the fact that Beautiful is just a friendly motherfucking giant. Like, you know, you've got the BFG. This is the FMG. Like he's just, and he's a handsome guy as well. Like Mum said, he's not very beautiful when she saw him in like the shadowy cave, but then when he gets out in the daylight and he's got his buzz cut and his close shaved beard, I was like, that's the most attractive troll that I've seen. I've only seen 3, but it's the most attractive one I've seen so far. Like, that's a hero there. I'm going to stop farleying now.
No. I mean, I think that's kind of where we're at. Like, this is a movie that after you talk about some of the little differences between the first and the second. This another thing I was going to mention that I thought was I could see some people seeing as a criticism, but I found kind of endearing because it's not an American production, but they did something that's very American and maybe Japanese too with kaiju movies. But like, there's really only one fight between the two trolls. Like they tease that up, and whether it's a budget thing or a pacing thing, like it's not until the end that you get the big sort of fight that you're waiting for. And
You don't want to blow your load.
but yeah, it works out because you're just like, all right, yeah, I get the ride that we're on here and what we're doing. So,
special shout out to a character by the name of Lars Gunderson, the guy who had just finished rebuilding his house before it got knocked down again.
Honestly, that moment is kind of a perfect encapsulation, microcosm of what these movies are, where it's like a pretty silly, stupid kind of dopey joke, but one that you're also like, okay, I'll give it to you. Like, there's that kind of like, you're like, all right, you guys, okay, let's do it. Like, you're right on the edge of wanting to be cynical about it, but they kind of just barely win you over.
Yeah.
To where it's like, okay, that's cute. Like, let's just have fun.
My hope for the third movie is that you think it's going to happen again, but then by some miracle, like his house is missed by like millimeters.
Or we flip it and like we see a troll's house and he comes through it with a bulldozer or something. Like we get, now you got to subvert it on the third,
like Gremlins. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It all comes back to Gremlins for you.
Hell yeah. Of course it does. One of the greatest movies ever. If it's not The Guest, then it might be Gremlins too.
It's true.
I'm a heathen.
Andi, do you have any other thoughts too? I mean, we're kind of rambling here. I feel like we've hit what we need to hit.
Yeah, no, I think I've said everything that I wanted to say, and to be honest, there's not too much to say about the movie, and I think that's the point where you get into such a conversation where you start picking it apart a little, although you really do like it, because it is, at the end of the day, it is a really silly action movie. But it's just fun. It's the type of movie that you can throw on with pretty much anyone and just have a good 100 minutes. And
agree.
It's that type of movie.
And I'm pretty sure we're all on the same page that if they make a third one, we'll watch it. Like they've cracked the code and replicated it for them. And I would imagine they'll continue to do that, and the ways that they can add on to it, they will. But also, I think they kind of know, what they like, what they're trying to accomplish, and that they have the audience that's on board for that particular ride. So, yeah.
It certainly seems as though they're confident with the fact that they included the that little teaser at the end there. They're fairly confident that a third one will be greenlit and able to be made. And there's clearly an audience for it. So, yeah, fingers crossed. I'll definitely be watching a third one.
Yeah.
One more thing. There's so much talk about Netflix original productions, especially when it comes to movies, and I have seen very few of them, probably, especially those big ones I didn't watch, the ones with Ryan Reynolds and whatever. I think I saw the opening for like 3 minutes of that Six Underground movie and turned it off. And comparing these movies that are always cited as Netflix sinks your money into these enormous productions that are just shit. And then on the other hand, you have something like Troll, which probably doesn't cost nearly as much as that Dwayne Johnson, Gal Gadot, Ryan Reynolds movie. But it's just probably way more fun still. So with the caveat of it is a Netflix production, this is the one that I want to see. This is what I want Netflix to make more of, those types of movies. Give some Europeans some movies, some money to make their version of American movies. And obviously that is that is probably the big draw for many people, definitely for me, that someone takes the concept of a King Kong or a Godzilla movie and transports it to their own country and lore and history and makes it a Norwegian movie with a concept taken from Japan and America.
Yeah.
Yep. Well put. I'm not going to tag on to that. Let's do double feature picks. No one else say anything. Dave, don't say anything else. Andi ended it perfectly for us.
Perfectly, you got it. Oh,
well, let's have you kick us off, Andi. I know what my double feature pick is going to be, and it is almost definitely the same one I had for the first movie. But Andi, what do you have first?
don't remember exactly. I think I may have picked Kong Skull Island for the first one, but I'm not entirely sure. Armageddon, because of the Michael Bay of things,
Yeah.
and the heroic death at the end. I thought if I would pick a monster movie, because obviously this is this is what Troll does, that it takes all these images and tropes and characters from action movies, but then it's also a monster movie. It's National Treasure meets King Kong.
Yep.
But yeah, in the end, I think that the Michael Bay elements were the strongest for me in the movie, and then I went with Armageddon because I unabashedly love Armageddon. I'm not ashamed of it.
No, I haven't seen it in years. I loved it when I was growing up. But yeah, I should rewatch it at some point. All right, Dave, what you got?
I'm going to say National Treasure, but with the caveat that when you finished watching National Treasure, you must then go to YouTube and look up the clip from Godzilla 2014 where he says, "Let them fight."
Yep. All right. There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect. I haven't looked it up. I'm 99.9% sure I picked Godzilla 1998. Which is what I'm picking this time for sure. She, what's her name? I already forgot. Nora. She reminds me so much of Nick Tatopoulos, Matthew Broderick's character in the 98 Godzilla. I used to watch that movie all the time. Yeah, I think just the same sort of nerdy but smart about this particular thing. Like there's some sort of quality there that immediately clicks me back to. And then that 98 Godzilla is very, very, very tropey in the same way. Like there's a little crew of I don't know how long, if you guys have seen it or how long it's been, but it was one I had on VHS and watched all the time. Like it was for years the only Godzilla movie I'd ever seen. It came out when I was 98, so I would have been 9. So I got the VHS not long after that, so I would have been probably 10, and watched the movie over and over. And I knew Jean Reno from other stuff, and then went on to watch more movies with him, basically starting from this Godzilla movie. But I loved Jurassic Park back then, so there's sections of the 98 Godzilla where they're in Madison Square Garden, and there's all these eggs that have hatched baby Godzillas, and they're basically just fighting velociraptors, essentially. The whole vibe of that movie just is so sunken in my head, just burned into my brain. I know now, having become over the years, especially in my more 20s and 30s, a huge Godzilla fan and a huge kaiju fan, just love all of this stuff. I get what it is and I get why it's hated, but I was 10. So for me, it's a very nostalgic, I could watch that movie today and have a blast with it. But it does have a similar sort of there's a guy who's a specialist. There's there's 2 or 3 of the friends or love interests that are sort of comedic support, comedic relief, but then also characters in their own that are on their own little sort of misadventures. There's an army guy. Jean Reno plays the kind of the army equivalent or whatever. There's a lot of stuff that lines up in the same way. So I would be shocked if I didn't pick this for Troll 1. But yeah, Godzilla 98, man.
I think I probably picked Hilda.
Well, that's what I was going to say. If I didn't pick this, I picked Hilda, because that's the other thing that I thought of a lot. And is, I think, also both the comics, and I haven't watched all of the series. I've seen a chunk of it. I've read 3 or 4 of the graphic novels. Just fucking amazing. On a different level of quality, but not in a way where I'm that's so much better, don't watch this movie. Not at all. They're doing 2 different things, but obviously they're pulling from the same source material, and I think both are very enjoyable in different ways. But Hilda's also just, especially the comics, I think are just amazing. So yeah, Godzilla 98. Size does matter, as the tagline said back in 1998. All right. I think that's it. Yeah, for this episode, for the year, for our Eerie 2025. Listeners, if you watched this movie, send us some thoughts if you'd like over at eerieinternational@gmail.com. We will be back in the new year with more films. We have some stuff we've discussed that might be in the pipeline. Dave and I, at some point, will be revisiting the Underworld franchise throughout 2026. So look forward to that as well. I think I speak for, and I'm going to, I guess, speak for all three of us when I say thank you for everyone who has listened this year. We unabashedly, unashamedly do not care whether people listen or not. I don't want to make that seem like we're not grateful. This is a show that we love. This is a show that we love doing. I don't want the thank you to feel like it's something that we are like, thanks for listening, because we're really trying to grow this. Like this is a podcast that we do because we're friends and we love talking with each other and hanging out. And longtime listeners of the show will know that and know, we've made trips to see each other and over the years, and that's the core of it. But the fact that we have anyone that listens is fun and just icing on the cake. And we've met so many cool people. We've met each other through other podcasts. It's all very, just a very sort of heartwarming thing that happens, and that is increasingly, I feel like the more the years goes on, it's easier and easier to be very cynical and I think deservedly so, about the internet and how bad things have gotten and things, different corners of the internet are and everything else. But it's also a nice reminder that we are able to connect with each other and with all of you because of that. And it brings people together in a fun way. And so we love hearing from you. We love that you all listen. Thank you for that. And we hope that you will continue with us into the next year with all the horror stuff that we get into. So in the meantime, stay safe out there. Have a happy holiday, or whatever the phrase is now. Keep watching horror movies, and we will see you next year.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.